What's going on, everybody? In this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on GBPUSD and USDJPY so that you know how I plan to trade it going into the week ahead and how you can also capitalize on these potential moves. So let's get straight into the video. Alright everybody, so first of all I'm going to go through my analysis for GBPUSD, as this is probably the main pair that I'm looking at going into this week, like always. So starting on the daily time frame, we can see that GU at the moment is clearly higher time frame bearish. On the weekly time frame, we have come to this area of supply, which price tapped into very nicely. And overall on the weekly time frame, if we zoom out a little bit, you can see that we are still technically bearish. We've had price came up, mitigated this area of supply, and then we broke the weekly low, creating a lower low. Price has now pulled back into that premium level of supply, and on the daily time frame we have started to shift structurally bearish, whereas before we were in this sort of bullish trend, printing higher lows and higher highs. Price has now reversed that trend, broken out of this daily structure, and has started to form lower lows and lower highs. So if we mark this on, as this would be the daily change of character, since this was the most recent higher low, this was the higher high, price then broke that level. But if we go over to the 4 hour and we can mark on the key structural points. So on the 4 hour, what I like to do normally is I like to mark out some of the mitigations. So we had price move down, came back, took out this liquidity, mitigated this area of supply, pushed down, breaking this 4 hour low. So if we mark that on, this is our 4 hour break of structure. Price then pulls back into this area of supply. We then get that push down, breaking this low as well. So that's another break of structure. And currently where price is not really reacting from any significant areas, so we are not expecting a reversal just yet. So as for areas where we can look to potentially get in the position, and like I mentioned before, we are looking for sells at the moment. I'm not looking to take buys, as I don't really see anything too clean as for the buy side. So at the moment, the main two areas that I'm focusing on are, first of all, we have this sort of 2 hour level of supply here, which aligns with a sort of break and retest of this previous structure. And then the second level would be this premium level of supply up here, which swept liquidity to the left, and we also have this area of trendline liquidity below it as well. So how I'm going to be actually playing this when price comes towards one of these zones is I'm going to be waiting for a confirmation in either of the zones. So if price were to print something like this, where we get early sellers from the level, sweep of early sellers followed by a break of structure, so that the lower time frames align with the higher time frame, meaning that what we want to see when price comes into one of these levels, we want to see the lower time frames switch bearish, so that the lower time frames and also the higher time frames align. So like I said, sweep of early sellers, then a break of structure, then a retest of some sort of area of supply, and then we can look to sell down. And similar thing with this level, I would look for exactly the same entry confirmation. At the moment, this top level here is my preferred level. I don't really like this level, as it is, if we draw the fib, at a discount, so we would be selling at a discount, which obviously is not ideal. And on the 4 hour, you can kind of see that there is not really any significant area of supply within this current range. So I think more than likely price will head up to this previous level of supply, and then that would be the optimal area where we can then look to get in some sells. So going over to, or actually before I go over to UJ, what I wanted to also say was that long term, my target at the moment for the buys is this sort of area of demand, which you can see if we zoom in, price never actually touched. We sort of induced it with this wick. So I think if price is going to come into this area at around 1.23, we will see some buys, and we can also look to capitalize on some counter trend moves if price gives us a valid entry confirmation. Okay, so if we go over to UJ now, and we will start on the daily time frame. So UJ for quite a while has been very bullish, and at the moment I'm not seeing any reason why this trend should reverse. You know, the JPY index is still very bearish, as we can see. DXY is still very bullish. So on UJ, we get an empty chart up, I am going to be looking mainly for buys going into this week, unless of course the structure changes, and then we can adapt and look for the sells. But like I mentioned, where price is currently at, there is not really any reason why it would reverse here. I don't think it has taken enough liquidity yet. So yeah, if we go to the lower time frames now, and we'll start to break down price action. So last week and the week before that, UJ actually came back and mitigated this area of demand. Also taken out these early buyers. So that is our sweep of liquidity. So we pull back, sweep early buyers, take out this structure here. That is our break of structure. Just there. So what I will be looking for going into this week is for a retest of this previous area of demand, which swept liquidity and created this imbalance, and also led to the break of this major structure point here. On top of that, another confluence we have is that we have liquidity above. As we can see, last night price created these two equal highs, and if we just zoom in, this was not a sweep of liquidity, it was two equal highs being created, as we can see. So overall, I am anticipating that UJ will continue bullish for the time being. And if we look a little bit to the left, the main target I have for the buys would be this 4-hour level of supply, and also the 152 high, as prices, like I said, very bullish, and this was the most recent higher high within the trend, so there is a high probability that price will come up and take that level, in my opinion. We also may see some sort of retracement once price takes this wick, as that is a major area of daily liquidity, so just being cautious of that. We may see short-term sells from that level, or even a major correction. But for the time being, I'm going to be monitoring this level for the buys, sorry. If we go to the 1 hour, we can sort of refine it to this level. As you can see, price is currently reacting once it took this liquidity, but I think it will head back towards this area of demand. At the moment, we are still bearish on the lower time frames, so we may see something like maybe price coming back to this sort of liquidity level for then sells back down to that demand. But personally, I'm not really interested in the sells at the moment, because like I said, price is very bullish. So I'm going to be looking to capitalize on the buys only at this point in time. If this level fails, we obviously can plan for that as well. So if this level fails, we can then look for a retracement into some sort of level of supply, where we can then look to sell down to some of these previous levels, such as this one at around 140. But personally, just due to how bullish price is moving at the moment, this looks very corrective. I think that price will most likely react from this level of demand, where then we can look for those buys up to these two equal highs, and also back towards the 152 sort of region. And of course, this will also depend on CPI on Wednesday. So this is quite a very this is quite a news heavy week. We have CPI Wednesday and we also have PPI on Thursday. So depending on how the data comes out, this trade may or not play out. So what we want to see news wise is for the CPI to come out. So we want the inflation to come out higher than expected, because that would insinuate that the Fed is likely to raise interest rates once again, which is obviously bullish for the dollar because it attracts that foreign investment essentially. So that is my analysis for this week. As you guys can see, this week I'm only focusing on these two main pairs, and I will go into detail more about that in a future video as to why I decided to only focus on these two pairs, as before I was trading quite a few pairs, but now I have narrowed it down. So I will go through that on Friday's video, I believe. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.